What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today I got a special one for you. This is probably the guide I've been requested the most for in the comment section, so I'm bringing it to you. Guys, welcome to the everything you need to know about mutations guide. Today I'm going to tell you about 99.99% of everything you need to know about mutations in Fallout 76. The only reason why I'm saying 99.99% is because there might be one or two details that might be left out, but I've done a ton of research for this and I've been playing the game for a few years, so I believe this is everything you need to know. But again, there might be one or two details that might not be covered. Leave them in the comment section down below if I did miss them. But anyways, guys, let's not waste any time because this is going to be a lengthy guide. Let's jump right into the video. To start the video, guys, I'm going to answer the simple question. What are mutations? Mutations are effects that you will acquire by either high exposure to radiation or by taking a serum. These effects will be both negative and positive. These effects are long, semi-permanent, which means you will retain the effects until you take any kind of suppression or removal chems such as RadAway, or if you walk through a decontamination shower. The only way to prevent yourself from losing these by using both those items is acquiring the perk Starch Genes. If you do not have Starch Genes and you want to run mutations but you need some radiation suppression, I recommend using Nuka Grape, Brahmin Milk, or any perks that will remove radiation over time, like Healing Hands, Rad Sponge, or What Rads. These perks are going to help you with the radiation suppression and removing radiation over time, opposed to using RadAway. Now, as I said before, Starch Genes does make the mutations permanent as long as you have the perk on. So if you have the perk on, you won't lose the mutations by taking chems or accidentally walking through a decontamination shower. So with mutations, they do bring you some positive effects, but they also bring you negative effects. There are ways to control both of them though. The perk Class Freak is going to help you reduce the negative effects of mutations depending on the level of the perk. I recommend running this, especially if you have multiple mutations. Some of them do take a bit of strength away, so you want to run this so you don't actually lose any of your strength. But anyways, the level of the perk will increase the reduction of it. So level 1 will be a 25% reduction to the negative effects of the mutation. Level 2 will be a 50%, and level 3 will be a 75% reduction. There are also ways to boost the positive effects, like the perk Strange in Numbers. This will allow you to increase the positive effects of your mutations by 25% as long as one of your teammates is mutated. This is another reason why I always say in all my guides you should always be on a team. I run this perk. In fact, I actually share this perk. It's one of my shared perks that I use when I'm on a team, so everybody can actually get those effects if they have any kind of mutation. Even if you acquired the mutation on accident, you still get the positive effects of it. So if we're talking about increasing or decreasing the effects, guys, we have to talk about weapon buffs here. As you probably already noticed, or if not, you're going to notice for the first time here, some weapons do have the Mutants legendary roll on them. With the Mutants legendary roll, that roll will only work if you have a mutation. Don't get it confused with the Mutant Slayers legendary roll. That's going to be the when you go against super mutants and stuff like that. This is, you want the Mutants legendary roll. Don't get them confused. I've made that mistake in the past. But also when it comes to controlling negative effects, this is one that a lot of people don't know. When you first acquire the serum and drink it, the negative effects are suppressed for an hour. So if it's your first time with that mutation, just remember it is going to have a little bit of a buff for about an hour because there are no negative effects for the first hour. It's kind of like when you drink an energy drink like a Red Bull. You get that initial energy burst when you first consume the drink, but later on in the day you have a little bit of a crash because your adrenaline levels and sugar levels and caffeine levels just drop, so you do experience a crash. It's kind of like that, except this one will be permanent after that initial hour. But that's not the only thing serums are going to do for you guys. I do not recommend doing this. Let me repeat, I do not recommend doing this. If you take a serum for a mutation you already have, it's going to suppress the negative effects for an hour again, but it only lasts an hour. I don't recommend doing this because serums themselves are very valuable. You can actually sell them for a good bit of caps. Not a lot, but you can sell them for a good bit. But also, that's probably my best sellers besides fusion cores in my camp when it comes to my storage. So many players are looking for serums all the time. I try to keep one of them, at least one of each, for the ones that I use as backup, because at times they can be hard to get. So I don't recommend using it like this unless you absolutely need it for what you're doing. Just keep that in mind. Just to add to increasing or decreasing effects, RADx, not RADaway. RADaway will remove your mutation. RADx will suppress the positive effects of your mutation, not the negative effects, only the positive effects. If you need radiation resistance, the way around this is to use diluted RADx or rad shield. This will not affect the positive effects of your mutation. It will also not affect the negative effects of your mutation. So this is kind of the way around it, so where you can still use the chems, just dilute them. I dilute all my chems anyways because it doubles the number of them that you get, and you can sell them for caps in your camp or at vendors anyways. Just know you're going to need a lot of purified water for most of this to do. Now to get into the most popular question I've received about mutations. Where do I get mutations? There's a few answers to this question. First off, we're going to start with the way I got my first mutation, and this is going to be a headache. High levels of radiation. So let's say you go into the area where radiation rumble happens and you decide to go into the high level radiation area, and you can just stand there. You have a 5% chance of getting a mutation for every 5 points of radiation you have. So the more radiation you have, the higher the chance you receive a mutation. Now, when you get this mutation, you will only get one mutation per server. So once you get a mutation, you have to leave the server if you want to try to get another one. Also, take into account that if you take a RADaway when you have that mutation, it's gone. You can't get it back. So you have to be careful if you don't have starch genes on, which I recommend. If you're doing it this way, don't put starch genes on until you get the mutation to keep it. You don't have to have starch genes, but as I said, if you want to keep your mutation. So if you're a newer player and you want to experiment with mutations, you can do this method of standing in the radiation. Just know you are assigned the mutation at random. If you just want to play around and see if mutations are for you and you want to see what you can do with one, I recommend doing this. This is what I did the first time I did it. I somehow got lucky and got marsupial. My first time doing it, I left the radiation, and I've told this story before in past videos. I literally popped a RADaway within 5 minutes because I forgot about it and immediately lost the mutation. And I was like, why am I not jumping as high? Oh, I lost my mutation. So as I said, go to a high level area, stand there, get the mutation, see if you like it. Again, it is assigned at random. The chances of you getting the one you want basically are 1 in 19 because there are 19 mutations. So you're probably not going to get the one you want. But if you want to test one out, I recommend doing it. Alright guys, so we're going to talk about where you can get serums from mutations. So there are 3 places you can get serums from. The other one is going to be, let me show you here. It is going to be on the White Springs bunker. So over here is the White Springs bunker. I'm actually going to take the service entrance because it's a quick way in. You do have to level up the Enclave quest, I believe it is, to actually unlock this bunker. I think you have to complete the I Am Deaf or I Am Become Deaf storyline to where you would drop a nuke to actually gain access to this bunker. But as you can see, I'm going through the service entrance, and you're actually going to go to the science wing. So once you enter this bunker, there's going to be some signs. Don't worry, the decontamination thing won't go off unless you trigger it. You're going to look for signs that say science wing. You're just going to follow the signs. So you're going to go right away. Science wing is going to be over here. That's going to be the communications. So medical bay, science wing is right here. You're going to come through here, run through the decontamination chambers, and you're going to go right here to these 4 terminals. These are going to be your stores, and you can actually scroll over to aid, and you're going to see they sell mutations. This price is going to vary based off of your charisma and the barter and perks you have acquired. I have quite a few on, so they're probably going to be more expensive than this. So take into account for that. They do sell all the mutations here. I bought the recipe for some of them, so they're not going to sell the ones I have recipes for. I recommend getting the recipes for them. The recipes for them are very expensive. So if you're a player like me who maxes out his caps, basically twice a week, essentially, I can in 2 days I can max out my caps completely. I buy the recipes. I'm currently working on collecting all of them. I have most of the ones I use already. I then use whatever extra materials I have, if I have some, and I make them and sell them in player vendors, which is going to bring me to my next, which is going to actually lead me into the next way you can acquire serums. And this is actually the easiest way. It is going to be through player vendors. So player vendors, they tend to not go for too expensive. They're normally around 500 to 1,000 caps. I've seen them as low as 250. I've seen them as high as 3,000. I don't recommend paying 3,000 for them. You get pretty pricey. I don't recommend paying that much for them. I just recommend, if you see it for cheap, I buy them anyway. So if I see them below 300, I buy them anyways because I can put them in my shop for 250. I sell all mine for around between 250 and 500, depending on what the mutation is. Some of them are more popular than others, but it really depends on what build everybody is running. Alright guys, and there is another way to acquire serums. It is actually by doing mutated events. So mutated events are great because if you have 3 or more Fallout First members, everybody in the event will get a mutated party pack. And the great thing is about these mutated party packs is that they will give you a 10% chance to get a random serum. So it's not a guarantee that you're going to get a serum, but there's a 10% chance. So look, just for demonstration, I'm going to open one that I have right here. I have a few actually. I might open a few. Let's see here. Mutated party packs. I have 5. Let's see. We'll open one. We'll see if we get a serum from this one. It doesn't look like I did. Okay, so I didn't get a serum from the first one. Remember, it is a 10% chance that you get one. So we didn't get one from the first one. At least it doesn't look like we did. I think the stuff's still coming through, so we'll give it a second to load. Fuel, because it might be one that I've already acquired. So we don't have one through there. Let's pop another one. Mutated party pack. So this is going to be another one. We got a barbed walking cane. Cool. I don't see any serums, so, and I'm not carrying any serums on me just to make sure that way they didn't stack. Nope. We're opening another one. Let's see if we get any serums. Oh, that's actually great. No serums yet. So we're opening another one. This is me opening 4 now, right? So this is gonna be my 4th one. Let's see if we get one. We got, doesn't look like we have actually got one so far. So let's open the 5th one. Remember, it is only a 10% chance to get a serum. Let's see here. Another recipe. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm getting some recipes, but we did not get a serum. So as you can see, it's not a guarantee you're going to get them. So don't do the events expecting you're going to get a serum. But it is a good way. If you're just doing a bunch of events for mutated events, weekends, and stuff like that, you're probably going to end up with a serum or 2. So just keep that in mind and check your inventory when you do get them. Alright guys, let's move on to the next part, choosing your mutation. So make sure you choose the mutation that fits your playstyle. So for example, when we go through the mutations, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail of which playstyles they kind of fit with. Just know there's hundreds and hundreds of playstyles in this game. I probably only know about 30 or 40 of them. So keep in mind that I'm probably not going to mention your favorite playstyle that you're playing right now. You're a wonderful level 500 and you have this really awesome playstyle that you and your friends play that nobody else knows about. I'm probably not going to mention that playstyle, so please don't rib me in the comments. But what I do want you to do is, if you do have a playstyle that you've heard of or you use, comment it in the comment section down below. And I'll basically pin it if it's a good one, or I will direct everybody to the comment sections at the end of the video so they can see that playstyle that you have. Like I said, I only use 3 different playstyles. I have 3 different builds that I jump back and forth through. So just know my mutations are pretty well rounded just for those particular playstyles. Don't get too overly worked if I don't mention your playstyle. Just making that clear that that's probably not going to happen. Anyways, guys, there is 19 different mutations in the game. Note, you can acquire all of them at once if you'd like, except for herbivore and carnivore. These 2 cannot stack, for the reasons being that they are opposite of each other. And you'll learn more about that in just a second when we go over the mutations. But just know, they do not stack. I will say it again, herbivore and carnivore do not stack. I would do some research to figure out which one is better for you with your playstyle, because my playstyle is going to be different from yours. Me personally, I run carnivore because I have a lot of items at my camp that generate meat-based products, and the buffs you get from meat help me. So just keep that in mind when I come to talk about mutations. My build is probably different from yours. Just keep that in mind. Try not to rip my build to shreds. You're more than welcome to if you'd like, but I'm just letting you know it's not going to get you anywhere, because the build works very well for me. It's completely up to you if it works for yourself or not. Alright guys, and now we are at the fun part of the video, where we are now going to cover all 19 mutations in the game. Alright guys, we're at the part of the video where we are going to cover mutations. Guys, we are going to go through it. I'm going to talk to you about the positive effects and the negative effects of each mutation. I'm also going to tell you which build the mutation fits into if I know the build. So keep in mind, as I said before, I do not know all the builds. I'm just making this clear. I do not know all the builds. Okay, anyways, now that I've got that out of the way, and I'm sure everybody has heard that 5 times now, if you made it this far into the video, press that like button down below. I appreciate you hanging out. Also, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Did you guys know 99% of the people watching my videos are not even subscribed? Let's hit that subscribe button, guys. Also, feel free to join the Discord, guys. I am making a primarily Fallout Discord. If you guys want to hang out in there, maybe meet some new friends, I'm going to try to be very active on that. You can join a faction. I have the different Fallout factions in there you can join. I highly recommend joining. The link is in the description. Anyways, enough of me self-promo and talking about all that stuff. Let's jump into what you're here for, the mutations list. Alright, so first off, guys, you're going to have the mutation Adrenal Reaction. Adrenal Reaction is going to be the mutation that is widely known as the Bloody Build mutation. So this mutation is the mutation that allows you to actually run the Bloody Build. This is that mutation. So the positive effects of Adrenal Reaction is you do get increased weapon damage when at low health points. So when your health is low, your weapon damage is increased. Now, as every mutation comes with a negative effect, it is going to have reduced maximum health. So your maximum health is reduced by 50. But if you're running this, you should be playing at low health. It benefits you the most when you're at about 25% health, in my opinion. Now, this mutation goes really good with the Nerd Rage perk. Nerd Rage does give you a buff when you're below 20% health. You do get additional damage resistance, and you do additional damage as well as AP regeneration. So keep that in mind. There are different levels of Nerd Rage. So I do run like a level 3 Nerd Rage because honestly, with the Bloody build, you gotta run Nerd Rage in my opinion. Also, this does work well with the Bloodied weapon legendary effect. So any legendary rolls that have the Bloodied effect on it, this is really going to go well with, because the Bloodied effect does get better with the lower health you have. So that combined with this is going to increase your damage by a good bit. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to Adrenal Reaction, guys, is that it benefits you as long as you're below 90% HP. If you're playing full health, do not use this mutation. Only use this mutation if you plan on not being at full health. Up next, guys, is the mutation called Bird Bones. As you can probably expect, this has something to do with Fallen. The Bird Bones is going to give you a +4 agility, +40 AP, -45% fall speed, and -90% fall damage for positive effects. For negative effects, this is a pretty big buff, or this is a pretty big nerf in my opinion. It is going to give you a -4 to strength and +20 incoming limb damage. So it's one of those to where you don't take fall damage as much, but your strength is reduced massively. So keep that in mind. So this is going to be very good to use with the Class Freak perk to reduce those negative effects. Now this does go good with the perk Goat Legs. Goat Legs is a perk that allows you to take less damage from falling. So the combination of the two is going to make it to where you can almost basically just jump off anything you want. You will die from fall damage still, but you're really going to have to jump from a higher distance if you do die from fall damage. It also goes well with the Acrobat's Legendary Armor. So any Acrobat Legendary Armor is going to stack very well with this. Alright guys, the next mutation is one I just touched on a little bit, and is going to be Carnivore. Carnivore is one of those where the negative effects isn't really a negative effect, it just changes the way you play the game. So positive effects is Mute does provide double benefits with no chance of disease. So that is a great buff in my opinion. The effects of Carnivore buffs are massive. For example, I have at my camp, I have like a Mirelurk steamer, and when I eat the smoked Mirelurk fillets, I think I get like, I want to say it's like 75 additional carry weight from consuming meat. So it's great. Also, literally the canned meat stew will get you a pretty good XP buff for some time as well. Now, the negative effects, guys, are vegetables provide no benefit whatsoever. So they do not satisfy hunger, restore HP, or apply any buffs. So eating vegetables is basically just a waste of time at this point. So Carnivore will double all the satisfaction, the HP restoration, and buffs that you get with no chance of disease. And vegetables will now do the complete opposite of that. So keep that in mind for Carnivore. On top of that, guys, Carnivore is used great with the Strange in Numbers perk. So when you first load into the game, if you're like me and you try to apply all your buffs right away, make sure you join a team first. Because if you join a team and your teammate has mutations, instead of the buffs being increased from ×2, the buffs for meat will go up by ×2.5 just by equipping that perk and being in a team. So make sure you're always in a team when you first log on before you apply your buffs. This is huge if you apply these buffs, because let's be honest, 2.5 is a lot better than 2. Guys, there is so much meat-based food in Fallout that is going to give you Fallout effects from Cannibal. I'm going to put them on the screen right now in like a credits fashion. So here you go. That's all the meat that you're going to gain buffs from. There's so much of it. You can pause it and look at it if you want. It's just so much that I can't go through the list. Otherwise, this video is going to be 25,000 minutes long. And I don't think any of us wants that. So Herbivore, that is the next mutation. Herbivore is the exact opposite of Carnivore. So consuming fruit, herb, or vegetable-based food or drink provides double the hunger / thirst satisfaction, HP restoration, and consumable buffs with no chance of disease. Again, the exact opposite of Carnivore. And guess what? The negative effects, the exact opposite of Carnivore. Meat provides no benefit at all. So keep that in mind, guys. These two are opposites. You cannot have them both on at the same time. Same thing with the Strange in Numbers perks. It does increase the buffs from ×2 to ×2.5. So keep that in mind. Also, one thing I did not mention when it comes to Carnivore, spoiled meat, spoiled fruits, and vegetables will still give you diseases. Keep that in mind. Unless you have the Iron Stomach perk, all spoiled food will still give you diseases. So keep that in mind, guys. You can't just eat all your spoiled meat. Just like I did for Carnivore, guys, this is going to be all the plant-based food in the game that is going to give you a positive buff. Here you go. It's on the screen. There you go. Look at the credits go. There's so much of it, guys. So much for each one. If you want to look at it, again, pause and you can see what you got going. If you guys want a video of all the buffs you can get from each one and me explaining what the buffs actually are, let me know. I can make a video on that. Just let me know in the comment section down below. Alright guys, and the next mutation is going to be Chameleon. So guys, Chameleon is going to grant you complete invisibility if you have no armor on, you're stationary, and you have a weapon drawn, but you're not attacking. So you can have your weapon out, but you just can't be attacking. So this one would be more for like a pacifist build or a stealth build. It's really not one that, in my opinion, I find useful for my build. That's completely up to you. You play the game the way you want to. Find the build that fits your playstyle. It's going to be good for those stealth builds if that's what you want. If you want to run around with no armor. The negative effects for this are none, because the positive effects of this are some very strict requirements. So there are no negative effects. Also, guys, just a little note to add. Armor pieces with the weightless legendary attribute do not count as armor for purposes of this mutation. I actually didn't know this. I did a little bit of research on the Fallout wiki for these mutations, and I just learned that. So if your armor has the weightless legendary role, you can still be invisible. So that's pretty cool. So that's useful. I just wish it wasn't when you're only stationary. I wish you were constantly invisible. I think that'd be better, unless you're shooting your weapon. But honestly, like, it'd be broken if it was, let's be honest. Moving on to the next mutation. This is Eagle Eyes. Eagle Eyes is going to give you a plus 50% critical damage and plus 4 perception. So it is going to help when it comes to VATS, essentially, because you're going to get more damage, more perception. The negative effects are minus 4 strength. So I would definitely run Class Freak for this one, because that is going to be a big minus for strength right there. Minus 4. That's pretty good. This one, again, works with strength and strange in numbers, which works with all mutations. It's going to increase it to 75% critical damage and 5 perception. So this is a good perk, as I said, for VATS builds. I call it a perk. That would be a good mutation for VATS builds. And the next mutation I use a good bit. This is one of my main 3 mutations I have. I normally walk around with 5, but there's 3 that I always have backups on just in case I want to start from fresh. Egghead. Egghead is going to give you plus 6 intelligence, minus 3 strength, and endurance are the negative attributes of this. So the plus 6 intelligence is going to help you level up pretty quick. So I recommend running this. Now, I highly recommend running Class Freak if you run Egghead, just to avoid that strength debuff. But Egghead's a pretty good one if you want to get that intelligence up. And the next mutation for you guys is going to be Electrically Charged. So Electrically Charged is going to have a chance of shock and melee attackers upon being hit, but the negative effect is shock deals energy damage to you as well. When you get hit, it damages somebody, but it also damages you. So it's one of those to where, in my opinion, it's not worth running. It might make the game a little bit more fun for you. I know that's why I enjoyed the bloody build, because you're so close to death that you do have to kind of pay attention to what you're doing. This will make it. This could be a fun build if you stack this with a bloody build. There's a chance that you just getting meleeed could kill you both. So hey, if that's your thing, more power to you. Sounds like fun. And the next mutation, this is gonna be one for those team players who really want to give their team the positive advantage. The positive effects is it's going to reduce the damage taken by teammates by 25%. But there is a negative effect, guys. And with this, it's going to increase the damage taken by you by 33%. So it's one of those perks that you really help your teammates, but at the same time, in order to do so, you're hindering yourself. For higher level players, this might not be a bad thing. Again, with the Class Freak perk on, it does drop the negative effect, so keep that in mind. But also, Strange in Numbers does increase the damage reduced by your teammates, so keep that in mind as well. So this is great if you're playing with some friends who are very low levels. They just got mutations. That way you can still use your Strange in Numbers perks, but at the same time, you don't want them to get absolutely destroyed every time they play with you. So good for a team build. The next mutation is going to be Grounded. This is one I mentioned earlier in the video. So the positive effects is you are going to get an extra 100 energy resistance. That's a really good buff. But the negative effects, guys, are you do drop 50% energy weapon damage. So if you're like me and you run a energy weapons build, I run a heavy energy weapons build as my main build, mixed with a bloody build. This isn't going to be good for you. Again, if you have Class Freak on, it does lower the amount of the nerf that you get from the negative effects. But keep that in mind. This does include all energy weapons. On to the next mutation. It is going to be Healing Factor. Healing Factor is good for a full health build, in my opinion. So if you're running full health, this is the one for you. Healing Factor's positive effects are going to give you plus 300 health regeneration. Make sure you know though, this only works when not engaged in combat. So you're going to be you're going to heal over time, but you can't be in combat. This is good. I would say you're not in constant combat in Fallout 76. There's very few cases. Probably when you're in like a silo to where you're constantly in combat. So this is a good perk to have if you want to run that full health build. Now the negative effects, and keep in mind, these are some pretty big negative effects for this one. So Class Freak, I recommend. And that chem effects drop by negative 55%. So this would be like your stem packs, your Radaway, your Radex, your Grape Mentax, your Berry Mentax, basically any chems that you use, it's going to drop the effect of them by 55%. If you have that Class Freak perk on, that's going to help a good bit. Just know that can be a massive debuff. Chems, if you don't actually run Class Freak, you're healing yourself and you're not worried about stun packs or anything like that. On to the next perk. In my opinion, this is the most useful mutation in the game. If you do not have this mutation applied and you're at the level to where you can buy serums and choose mutations, and you run any kind of mutations and you're not running this mutation, in my opinion, you're playing the game wrong. Fallout 76 is a team-based game. This is a team-based mutation. It's called herd mentality. The way this mutation works is if you're in a team, you get +2 to all special stats. That's right, +2 to all of your special stats. The negative effects is if you're playing solo, it's -2 to all special stats. So basically, if you're in a team at all, so you don't even need to be in a team with other players. You just need to be in a team by yourself, and it counts as being grouped. You get +2 to all specials. This is a massive, massive mutation because the negative effects don't apply to you unless you're not in a team. And as I said, to get the most benefits of Fallout 76 at all, you should always be in a team, even if you're in a team by yourself. So again, herd mentality, in my opinion, the most useful mutation in the game. So we just went over the most useful mutation in the game, to my opinion. And now here's my favorite one. It's going to be Marsupial. Marsupial does add +20 carry weight and improves your jump height, but the negative effects are -4 intelligence. So this is one of those to where the intelligence, you need class freak on because your intelligence is going to drop drastically for this, but the +20 carry weight also, honestly, I don't even run this for the carry weight. It's the jump height. The jump height is massive. You can easily jump to roofs of certain locations. You've probably already seen a lot of players use this mutation. It's probably one of the more popular ones in the game. One thing you need to take in consideration for this is, one, the -4 intelligence class freak should be used for this, but also you will take fall damage. It does not do anything for fall damage, so take that in mind. If you're going to run this perk, you gotta be careful of fall damage. Even just jumping down a hill could probably kill you. On to the next mutation, and this is one that actually doesn't come with a negative effect. It only has a positive effect because it's a very single effect, and it's going to be Plague Walker. And basically the way Plague Walker works is you get a poison aura scaling with the number of acquired diseases. Only 4 max though. So basically the more diseases your character has, the more poison that you give off. So I actually run this mutation, but I honestly forget I have it on. It's one of the, I wish you could remove a single mutation of your choice, but you can't. It's always at random. I applied it thinking I'd be like this poison cloud being around me at all times. It doesn't work like that. They have to get like right up on you, and in my opinion, just throw it on there. If you get a disease, maybe that extra damage buff is going to help you. There's no negative effects, so this is just one of the ones that is kind of just there. Moving on to the next mutation, this is another popular one. This is Scaly Skin. So Scaly Skin is going to give you a +50 damage and energy resistance, but the negative effects, and this is a pretty good debuff if you use VATS, is it's -50 action points. So keep in mind that if you're a VATS player, Scaly Skin is not going to be for you unless you already have quite a bit of AP. It's one of those to where if you're one of those players that don't use VATS and you're kind of like playing like a first-person shooter, use it. But if you're like me and you're a VATS player, probably skip on this one. Up next, guys, this is one of the funner mutations, just like Marsupial. This is Speed Demon. Speed Demon allows you to get +20% movement speed and +30% reload speed. Now, with that being a pretty good buff, the debuff, the negative effect that you get from this are going to be increased hunger and thirst by 50% while moving. So you do get hunger and thirstier faster, but you do have increased movement. So that it's one of those things where it's like, do you want to be a more mobile player? But with that, you're gonna have to control your hunger and thirst. Honestly, hunger and thirst don't really do a lot in this game. I say take this one. If you have the choice to take this one, do it. I run Speed Demon. As we continue to work our way through the list, we are down to Talons. So Talons is going to be a mutation where the positive effects are unarmed attacks deal 25% more damage and amplifies bleeding attacks. The negative effects though are -4 agility. So you do lose out on your agility here. Unarmed attacks are obviously going to be with your fist, but also gauntlets sometimes count as being unarmed. So with the Death Call Gauntlet is one that I use. I use the legendary roll on it, the Unstoppable Monster, a good bit. It's like a bloodied Death Call Gauntlet. That counts as an unarmed attack. So you're going to deal 25% more damage and cause bleeding damage. But for me, I don't run Talons because the -4 agility is just something I don't want to have to deal with. So this is completely up to you. But if you run around with like gauntlets and stuff like that, I recommend Talons. Up next, guys, is going to be Twisted Muscles. So Twisted Muscles, positive effect, guys, is going to give you 25% melee, unarmed, and bashing damage, and 20% chance to cripple enemy limbs. But the negative effect is going to be -50% gun accuracy. This applies to all ranged weapons. So basically, if you're running a melee build, Twisted Muscles is for you. If you're not running a melee build and you rely on long range weapons, maybe skip out on this one. With that gun accuracy, that's a lot of accuracy drop right there, 50%. Just note that this also works with Class Freak, as all mutations do, and Strange in Numbers, which is going to bring you up to 35% damage increase. Whew. We are working our way through this list, ladies and gents. Thanks for hanging on with me so far. This is going to be another mutation that I run. This is called Unstable Isotope. Now, Unstable Isotope does give you a 10% chance to release a radiation blast when struck in melee. So it's going to be like a little mini explosion that happens right in your face. But the negative effect is the radiation blast irradiates you as well. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It won't kill you unless you're super low on radiation. This is one of those to where if you run Radicule, the perk that radiation increases your strength, and you get as much radiation as you can to get that carry weight up, because that's what I use it for. There is a chance that when you get hit, that little blast of radiation kills you. I've had that happen before. It's not as often as the electrically charged. I know the electrically charged I've tried before, and I've died a few times just because of it. But this one you forget you have, and it does scare the crap out of you every now and then. Alright guys, those are all the mutations in Fallout 76, and those are their positive and negative effects. Just a little fun fact for you guys here. When I was doing research on this, I found this on the wiki, and I did some research, and I found out this is actually true, and I think it's really cool. So originally when mutations were supposed to come out in Fallout 76 with the mutation system that they have, they wanted the player to, the more mutations you have, you would mutate into different creatures. Like you could be a super mole rat or a super mutant. Just look how cool this looks. Like, wouldn't that be so cool? What do you guys think? Would you guys like it to be like this? Like, that would be awesome. Let me know in the comment section down below. I just thought this was a cool little thing I wanted to throw in there. It just looks really cool, and I just thought that would add like such a cool element to the game. I don't know how like cosmetics would work then, but you know, imagine walking around as a giant super mole rat. Like, wouldn't that be like just funny? anyways, just a little fun fact for you. All right, guys. So basically, as you've seen, there are a lot of mutations, and there's a lot of way to use the mutations in builds. Just to show you what mutations I run for my bloodied energy weapon build, these are the mutations I run. And now, you can consider mine to be lazy mutations, because these mutations that I run, I actually use for all my builds, not just my heavy energy weapons build, my bloodied heavy energy weapons build. Like Adrenal Reaction, Carnivore, Egghead, Herd Mentality, Marsupial, Plague Walker, I would take off if I could, Speed Demon, and Unstable Isotope. So as you know, like, these perks aren't necessary, or these mutations are not necessary for my build, but these are the mutations I run because I like running these mutations. So you can stack them, just know you can't stack Carnivore and Herbivore. And well, yeah guys, that basically covers about 99.99% of what you need to know for mutations. Again, the easiest place to find them is in player vendor shops. So that's the place I would look for them first before you go to White Springs and you start looking there. So guys, if you made it this far in this video, be sure to press that like button down below. Comment anything I may have missed on mutations, or comment which mutations you are going to be picking up. If you're not sure if these mutations work well together, put in the comment sections down below what mutations you want to mix, and I'm sure our wonderful community we have built over here will be able to tell you if that's a good idea or a bad idea. Guys, I appreciate all the support. We are over 2,000 subscribers now. We are nearing in on 2,500. That is insane. It's only been 2 weeks since we were at 200. I can't believe it. It's insane. Guys, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for all you guys. I'm going to keep rolling out these guides. I want to do the best I can to grow this Fallout community together, and everybody can be better players. Guys, I do have a Discord. Join the Discord down below if you want more Fallout content. I hope all of you guys have a great day. As always, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.